My friends, good afternoon to you. It is CFLW, the show for this Monday, November the 24th. Rusty with you here. Hope you are doing well. Coming up in this show, we're going to be talking about what's going to be happening for the week ahead. It's Thanksgiving week. I'll give you guys a very early happy Thanksgiving and hope things are well. Some changes are on the way. It has felt like summertime the last week or so, but we will have a cold front that will impact the temperatures for Thanksgiving and beyond. So much to get into as always. CFLW, the show, is sponsored by the Lane Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews to get property damage of any kind. They'll walk you through the insurance claim process. Make sure you check them out by going to leanomnilaw.com if you guys would like more information. As always, I'd love to hear from you guys. Hope things are well for you as well. Let me just drop off my old name bar here real quickly. How's everyone doing today? Hey, Nancy, good afternoon to you. Wedgefield in the house at 83 degrees with a very lovely 50% humidity under partly cloudy skies. Had a good weekend. Yep. Outside a little bit, enjoyed it, but I am one of those guys who likes the cooler weather this time of the year. So the fact that it was warm and like sweating warm this in the afternoon hours was one of those things that like, okay, look, I can tolerate that, you know, June, July, August, even September. But as we get to late November, you know, give me a little bit of cooler air here. But those changes will be on the way shortly. I'm just going to loop up these temperatures, which again started off very mild this morning. We had a little bit of patchy fog. Some of that was locally dense. We'll still see that the next couple of mornings until our next significant cold front arrives. Hi, Amy. Good afternoon to you as well. Hope you're doing fine. Appreciate you guys tuning in for the live version of this. If you're here, thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. If you haven't subscribed, please do so as well. So temperatures are warming up again this afternoon, right? We're already back into the lower 80s in most spots. We had a very weak front. And again, we've had a few fronts move through the area here and there, but they're so void of any moisture. And even the wind shift out of the north is so, it's so, minute, if you will, that it's not even pulling in really cooler air. We really haven't seen our temperatures drop. There is a front that is basically draped over the area right now. It should settle back into the Lake Okeechobee area later today. But, at this point in time, you're just not seeing any big differences along this front. Let me give you an example. In Ocala right now, even though the boundary has pushed south of us, the winds are still out of the south. In Daytona Beach, you're going to have the onshore flow. The winds are out of the east. Gainesville even has a bit of a southerly component to the wind, and we're going to see that through most of the Orlando area as well. There'll be from time to time winds will be out of the east, but for most areas, winds will still have a bit of a southerly feel to them. So there's no cooler air coming with this. There's a little bit of a reinforcement of the drier air, but that would be about it for us here. Here, let me bring up, here we go. Just going to bring up these contour lines. Now look, there is, very weak high pressure with the clockwise winds kind of off of our west coast. So that's kind of the bigger thing right now that's actually kind of driving where the wind direction is in the area. The boundary itself has had very little changes to our forecast at this point in time. Now, there is some cooler weather on the way with a pretty good storm system in the southern plains and the opportunity that this might actually bring some severe weather to portions of the plain states as well. We'll highlight that just because it's a part of the overall forecast that's going to be moving in. But before we do so, we got to take a look at our live cameras here at CFLW. Live look outside to Winter Garden, just a few fair weather clouds in the background there. And again, skies today will be mostly sunny, no doubt about it. Will be dry. No chance for any rain at this point in time as well. And again, more sun than clouds as we move through the day. Live look outside to Winter Park, the Lane Law Cam, same situation, just a few passing clouds with that weak boundary that's coming through. And of course, you'll always find your current conditions in your area at the bottom of the screen, updating live for you there as well. So Winter Park looks pretty good. We look towards the east from Conway and the southeast side of downtown Orlando. Gentle breeze along the lake at the hour. Again, notice that these clouds, although they're there's some out there, there's no vertical development to any of this. So there's just not a lot of lift in the atmosphere, and the moisture content is quite low as well. So it will produce, when it gets to that, area where we can actually have some condensation, it will produce a little bit of cloud coverage, but they're flat and they're just going to be gently moving on by with no threat for any rain. And the attractions forecast looks good. Again, pretty steamy in the afternoon hours, right? You might want the sunscreen. You might want the sunglasses if you're headed outdoors. But again, some significant changes on the way as we get closer to the weekend. But at this point in time, the status quo, if you will continue through Wednesday, where we're going to have very mild mornings. We're going to have warm afternoons, and we're going to have the opportunity for some locally dense fog, although patchy in nature, as we go tomorrow and Wednesday mornings. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to loop this up for us here. Let me bring on the radar data as well. We'll bring that on, and I'm just going to take these surface plots, and I'm going to thin them out a little bit, so it's just a little bit easier for you guys to see. Okay, so this is a potent storm system with an area of low pressure in the southwest side of Kansas, right? Along what we call this triple point boundary, we're likely to see some severe weather. This is actually a fall severe weather setup here. If we look at the risk of severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center, east of those boundaries is where we have a slight risk for today. So we get some general thunderstorm activity in Oklahoma and Texas, but closer to I-10, East Texas, Louisiana, portions of Mississippi, likely to see some severe weather for today. And then this does track off to the east. By the way, just real quickly, as we move along, if you are traveling for this Thanksgiving week and you have a question about a forecast, where you're going, drop it in the comments section below and let me know, and we can take a look at that together. I mean, obviously, I don't have on the top of my head the exact forecast for every location in the U.S., but we can talk about the generals and get into some specific temperatures if you guys are traveling. Happy to do that for you guys as well. Then as we get into Wednesday, this is going to be your risk for Wednesday. We don't really have any chance for any severe storms, but the Storm Prediction Center actually puts us in a general thunderstorm category. But we'll take a look at the models. I don't really have any rain in the forecast for Wednesday, right? So it's a little bit interesting. There's a little bit of incongruity right now about what's happening with what I think is going to likely happen. And just the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, saying, look, there's at least a chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. But again, it's not severe in nature. All right, let me go back over to, let's do this here. We'll do VizSatRad. So again, here's this storm. You can clearly see the spin. That's your area of low pressure. The warm sector of the storm is southeast of that. So temperatures there are on the warmer side, right? Temperatures there are on the warmer side, especially where the warm front is, and it's lifting north. South winds are pulling it north. So look at Houston's temperature climb, right? Shreveport is 57. So there's a big temperature difference between Houston and Shreveport at the hour, but no severe weather is likely in Oklahoma because these are your current temperatures. There is some colder air spilling out of the Intermountain West here, coming off of some of the high plains areas of eastern Colorado and even the Caprock areas of the Panhandle of Oklahoma, and that's spilling into these areas. But there is some true colder air associated with this, right? And that's what we're going to ultimately see in our area as we get into Thursday. It does look like the scenario plays out like this, where again, we're likely to have south winds ahead of this, with the warmest day actually being Wednesday. And then the front arrives early on Thanksgiving, and temperatures will be much cooler Thanksgiving afternoon. All right. And actually the coldest air is likely to be Black Friday. The changes will be felt throughout Thanksgiving Day, but the brunt of the colder air will likely arrive Friday morning and a little bit cooler Friday afternoon as well. Hey Kish, good afternoon to you. Hope you're doing well. Happy Monday to you. And again, you guys have a question about the forecast, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. So we're going to start working our way through what I expect the next couple of days. First of all, again, we already looked at the severe weather risk. Just real quickly here, the moisture in the atmosphere, right? So you can see these storms are firing up as we're tapping into some moisture from the northwestern Gulf. There is some drier air coming in, but ultimately there's just not a ton of moisture associated with this storm outside of where we have that triple point and near that area of low pressure, but that's moving north and east, and the front itself is going to drag through. And so the air is very neutral south of here. There's not a ton of moisture, so I don't expect there to be a big chance for any rain associated with this. Let me show you. We'll begin with the HRRR model. A couple of things I want to look at with the HRRR model. We'll first of all look at the precip. And again, HRRR model only goes out 48 hours. So it's only going to take us to Wednesday morning. But you'll get the idea, right, that as this boundary begins to come in, there could be a few sprinkles, but nothing that's going to be very organized here. So we'll let this loop up. All of the major storm activity is going to be moving up to the north through the Tennessee Valley, and the Ohio Valley, and eventually into the Northeast. I don't have precip type on here. Just for clarification, I can bring that on real quick. And why I would do that, obviously, is if you have any interests for where there might be some snow, this system is likely, in general, to stay warm enough where there's not going to be actually a lot of snow initially into the Great Lakes. Now, there is a little fast clipper system coming through the North Dakota area that could bring some snow. But relatively speaking, in the short term, before Thanksgiving Day, all this precip is likely to be in the form of rain, even as far north as Milwaukee and Detroit, and even into the Northeast as well. New York City, it's Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. And again, the opportunity for some strong to severe storms back into portions of the Southeast. But you get the idea here, right? That as we roll through, let's see, do I have it all the way up here? I do. I think it's still downloading a couple of frames. That while there'll be a little bit of moisture that'll be tapped into this, there's not a lot. A couple of sprinkles here and there. There'll be more cloud coverage, maybe as early as late tomorrow in some of our northern areas and on Wednesday, but there'll be south winds on Wednesday. And we're likely to see temperatures even spike up a little bit more. Low, and I'm not even gonna rule out some mid 80s for Wednesday, right? So for Wednesday, you're gonna be in shorts and short sleeves. For Thanksgiving Day, might be a little bit different. But you get the idea again that as we roll into our Wednesday morning, no big risk for any rain out of this. Next thing I want to look at real quickly here with the HRRR model before we move on to the GFS is the visibility. Still going to be a few issues with visibility. Here's tomorrow morning. Now again, patchy, 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 right? Not Apache, but patchy. So you get the idea, and this is what I mean. And this is not out of the question, where most of, and you can see my cursor here, most of Metro Orlando is absolutely fine. But here and there, you get these little patches of fog. Nancy, maybe near you in Wedgefield, in Avalon Park, just where the air is a little bit more settled, right? We could see that visibility drop significantly, but that's the situation. It is patchy. Most areas absolutely fine, but a couple of spots here and there indicated on this color table by your grays. Everywhere in the red is just fine, but you find these little spots of gray, Lake County and Sumter and Northern Polk and portions of Seminole County, right? Again, near, east of Lake Mary and Sanford and north of Oviedo, that's over Lake Jessup, right? There could be just these little patches. So I'm not overtly concerned. I mean, look at Flagler County, inland from Bunnell, up 11. I'm not overtly concerned about the overall fog tomorrow morning, early. But could you, in some rural areas, run into locally dense fog, which could reduce the visibility less than a half mile, maybe even less than a quarter mile? Yes. Very isolated, but the chance is out there. So just keep that in mind. The air is still going to be very settled. If we go to Wednesday morning, it's the same situation. We're still going to have areas of locally dense fog. mainly in rural areas. So here's southern Lake County, back into far southwest Orange County near 429, and south of Hamlin towards Disney and Claremont and 33. Again, patches here north of Apopka, west of Apopka towards Mount Plymouth. Again, a few spots where the visibility is likely to be lower, but Orlando looks pretty good. You know, Tampa area, not nearly as concerned. It does look to be more inland. Notice all of the Tampa area, all of Hillsborough, all Pinellas County, all of Pasco County looks pretty good. Even along the coast in Citrus County and Hernando County, we're looking fine from Homosassa Springs up to Crystal River. You know, maybe a little bit down here north of Lake Okeechobee. I'm not worried about Brevard County, but you just get the idea that there will still be some spots where there will be some locally dense fog for Wednesday morning. Hey Kish, I fly out Monday evening to London. I don't have the London forecast. Flights usually travel up along the East Coast. How's the weather looking here? Another cold front coming in around that time Thursday. You're flying out Monday evening. Yeah, I think you're fine. You're going to be ahead. Well, does that mean you're flying out tonight? Just double check with me. Monday evening would be tonight. Or are you talking about a week from now? If you mean a week from now, we can take a look at that. It's a little bit far in the forecast, but not out of the realm, being 7 days. Obviously, I think I got what you're saying. Here, another cold front coming in around Thursday. Oh, you're leaving Wednesday evening. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look. Again, that's just out of the... First of all, if you're flying out of Tampa, they're going to avoid any of that weather anyway, right? I mean, they're just going to find the elevation and the routes to get you out. I would only be concerned if, and by the way, Kish, is it a direct flight, Tampa to London, which most of them are, just double checking, because if it is, the weather out of Tampa Wednesday evening is going to be fine. Absolutely fine. No chance to have a weather delay. I mean, any other delay, I can't guarantee you, but there will be no weather delay. And then they'll find the way to avoid any weather. You know, got a lot of different alternate routes that they can take. It's just if you're, you know where the flight is leaving from, if that were to be an issue up north. But if you're flying out of Tampa, yeah, you're fine. You're fine. We'll still take a look at it, but weather-wise, I would not be concerned. Let's see, today's 24th. Let's go up to Black Friday, the 28th. All right, so again, GFS, a little bit more in time. Let me bring on the precip type. I keep forgetting to do that. We're now in winter. If we're going to look up to the north, you're going to want to know where it's snow and not just rain. So basically what I can do here on our models is we're looking at the southeast. It takes a little bit longer to load up the precip type, meaning that it takes into effect where the frozen precipitation is going to be in the form of sleet and ice and snow. And so you'll start to see that, but it takes a little bit longer to load that up. So typically speaking, if we're just looking at the southeast and we're not in winter, I just use the reflectivity without the precip type. But if we're talking about a forecast beyond here, I'll switch over to the precip type. It'll take just a second to load up, but no big deal. Okay, so for our area again here, over the next few days, you can see on the GFS model, again, patchy areas of moisture, but nothing that's going to be concentrated. There could be a few sprinkles out of this, right? As we get into tomorrow, and again, it's going to take a little bit of time just to load up here. Now we're into our Wednesday. And again, that's still before the front arrives. The front is not arriving until early on Thanksgiving Day, the 27th. And then we'll see the cooler weather kind of spill in throughout the day. No problem. All right. We're almost there. But also, Kish, if you notice that the Storm Prediction Center on Wednesday had no risk for any severe weather even up the United States East Coast, so it'd just be some generalized showers. That would be about it. All right, so now we're far enough in time. Let's take a look at this. Again, next couple of days, south winds, a few sprinkles. Here comes the front, and it's very hard to tell, but there it is right there. This is Thanksgiving at 1 a.m., okay? Here comes the front. Again, basically devoid of any moisture, Could there be a sprinkle or two? It's possible. By Thanksgiving evening, there's your boundary. It is a significant that pushes far off to the south. Try and bring up these vector fields here. Sometimes this cooperates, sometimes it doesn't. All right, so this is Black Friday morning, the 28th, okay? And you can clearly see that we are going to have a brisk north wind. So this front is going to be bringing about some pretty stark changes. If I go back to Thanksgiving afternoon, the winds are going to be freshening up out of the north. They're going to be 15 to 25 miles an hour, and temperatures are likely to slowly drop throughout Thanksgiving afternoon here in Florida. If they're not going to drop, they're going to be holding pretty steady through the afternoon because of this north wind. So let me loop up both things together. Again, might take a second just for all this. So most of the storms stay north. Winds will be out of the south tomorrow and Wednesday, but by early Thursday, I'm talking about before daybreak, here comes the front. Here comes, again, a sprinkle or two, but the biggest difference is the drop in temperatures. It's gonna feel a lot more like fall for Thanksgiving Day. The air is gonna be dry, it's gonna be pleasant. We're gonna have a breezy north wind. So here's your pause point. Again, this is Thursday morning into the afternoon. There's your north wind, and just deeper into Thursday, Thanksgiving we go. The cooler air drives farther and farther south, and by Black Friday morning, you'll feel it. There will be some lows in our northern areas on Black Friday that are back in the low 40s, right? So you can forget these 60s for morning lows for at least a few days. We're going to be back into the 40s starting on Black Friday morning. Some areas upper 40s, some areas lower 40s. So if you're headed out next couple days, it's shorts and short sleeves. If you're traveling around Florida for Thanksgiving, you might want pants and you might want a long sleeve shirt and maybe a light jacket or a windbreaker for Thanksgiving Day itself, right? Just depending on how tolerant you are to the cool weather, just depending on whether you're going to be outdoors or not. If you're going to be outdoors on Thanksgiving for any point in time, maybe you got the annual football game, who knows? Maybe you just, enjoy the outdoors, or you have a family that's large enough where you guys eat outdoors. Have no idea. A lot of different ways to enjoy Thanksgiving. The wind is going to be a story because as these north winds kick in, they're going to be 15 to 25, and they are going to be ushering some cooler air. So you're going to feel it. It's not a big bite in the air yet on Thanksgiving afternoon, but there are changes throughout the day that, again, if you're not tolerant to the cooler weather, you might want the light jacket or the windbreaker. But again, appreciably rainfall-wise, not expecting much. All right, I got some 3-day forecasts for you guys. And I got my friend Turkey Tom here with his football ready to go on Thanksgiving Day. So this is what it looks like for the attractions, which of course, by the way, is going to be packed the next several days, I'm sure. All the holiday parades they got going on, beautiful weather, warm the next few days. Again, patchy fog, Lake Buena Vista, tomorrow morning, 63, 83 the daytime high. Wednesday, even warmer with the south wind again, up to 84, and you'll feel it. Not great. But here comes the cold front. Now, the colder air doesn't make its way in by Thursday morning, by Thanksgiving morning. So we're still in the 60s, but now we only have a 10-degree temperature climb in the afternoon, a little bit of cloud coverage, the north winds 15 to 25 on Thanksgiving afternoon, and just an overall cooler feel to the air, but not outrageously cold. 74 is just fine. Again, the breeze will be out there, a little bit more cloud coverage. It will feel a little bit more like fall, but this is not crazy impactful weather for sure. You can absolutely still be outside. But we're going to go from temperatures well above average to temperatures slightly below average on Thanksgiving, and then even colder for Black Friday. For Tampa, still dealing with the opportunity for some fog, but it is going to be really isolated in Pinellas, in Hillsborough, in Manatee, and Sarasota counties. Then just warm afternoons. It's 85 tomorrow in the Tampa-St. Pete area, 83 on Wednesday. Again, for Thanksgiving Day, the colder air doesn't make its way in the morning, so we're still in the lower 60s, but it will be a cooler afternoon with a few more clouds. I'm going to call it partly cloudy from time to time. It could be mostly cloudy, but there will certainly be some sun overall on Thanksgiving Day. We just might have to deal with a little bit more cloud coverage than what we've seen lately. And again, a cooler afternoon, 75 the daytime high. In Ocala, this is an area, again, north, feel the effects of the front first. Obviously, it's not as warm even in the morning hours the next few days. They're in the upper 50s. Still some patchy fog around Marion County. And again, warm afternoons. 83 tomorrow, 84 Wednesday, and then here comes the cooler air. Double nickels on Thursday morning for Thanksgiving, and the high of just 70 degrees. This is an area where the daytime high in Ocala is likely to be right around noon, and then through the remainder of the afternoon hours, temperatures should fall. So by 3 o'clock on Thursday, Thanksgiving, we should be back into the upper 60s here in Ocala and Bellevue and Silver Springs as those north winds continue to drive in the cooler air. It's not going to be this significant plunge of colder air coming in throughout Thanksgiving afternoon, but we're likely to peak in Ocala for the afternoon high, if you will, right around lunchtime, and then temperatures just falling back. By the way, the morning low in Ocala on Friday for Black Friday, I have it at 42 degrees. So there you go. We're going to go from 84 Wednesday afternoon to 42 on Friday morning. So a more than 40-degree temperature drop here from Wednesday afternoon to Friday morning. Daytona Beach, the east onshore breeze has kept temperatures slightly cooler, but it's been warm, it's been pleasant. That's what we'll see there for coastal Volusia County. 79 tomorrow, up to 81 on Wednesday. Front comes in, a little bit of extra cloud coverage. The east winds tapping into the cooler waters of the Atlantic, so you just get a little bit more overcast there. I don't think we're going to have, the marine layer develop, but there'll be some extra clouds. And even though the morning low is 61 on Thursday, the daytime high is just 69. We don't even get out of the 60s all day in the Daytona area, right? And again, another spot where you're likely to see an afternoon high in the very early afternoon hours, if not even by noon, and then temperatures slowly falling through the remainder of Thursday. So certainly a cooler Thanksgiving for places like Ormond Beach and Daytona Beach and Ponce Inlet and Wilbur by the Sea and Port Orange, areas like that. Then you go down the coast to Brevard County. Warmer, we're in the lower 80s the next few days. Fair amount of sunshine. Morning lows are up. Upper 60s, even into Thanksgiving morning. Your morning lows are very mild. They're in the upper 60s, sunshine and warm weather the next few days. And then again, breezy north winds, 15 to 25 on Thanksgiving afternoon, ushering in the cooler air, nothing outrageously cold. Melbourne, Palm Bay, Eau Gallie, Melbourne Beach, Satellite Beach in the Atlantic, Titusville, Mims. Very, very nice weather for Thanksgiving. Just that touch of a breeze, 76 the daytime high. So again, nothing outrageously cold. Your coldest weather coming in for Black Friday, and then temperatures are likely to moderate for Saturday and Sunday. All right, so do we like that? What do we think about that? For me, again, I'm a cool weather fan. It doesn't have to be outrageously cold, but I like the crisp feel, and I like the fact that we get a little bit of some changes here, and especially as we get into the holidays, right? Let's get a little bit cooler weather for the actual holiday. And it's nice to see that because it has been so stinking warm here lately that we actually get a little bit of those changes coming in, and it's not going to feel like winter. It's going to feel like fall. To me, that's absolutely perfect. What do you guys think? Let me know. Where are you here? Switch back over to the main timeline. So again, ahead of it, we'll recap what I expect the next couple of days. Weak front moving through right now. No appreciable changes. Temperatures that will stay above average through Wednesday afternoon. Still some fog for the next couple of days. And then this storm system here is going to be dragging a cold front in that is relatively significant. It's a pretty strong cold front, pretty low latitude. You can see the low there over the southwest side of Kansas. There's your cold front, your occluded front, and your warm front. So temperatures right now are vastly different south of that warm front and north of that warm front. Now again, this boundary is likely to kind of stay quasi-stationary and just keep us in those low, even some mid-80s with a south wind the next couple of days. But eventually that cold front gets dragged across the entire eastern half of the United States, and temperatures will fall behind that for us here. All right. Kish, appreciate your question. Hopefully I answered it. I don't think you have any weather problems whatsoever. Weather out of TPA should be just fine Wednesday evening. Along the East Coast, there might be a few showers and storms, but nothing significant. They'll find the route to get you there. Enjoy your trip, my friend, to London. Sounds like a fantastic place to enjoy Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoy it. Does anyone else have any questions about the forecast for Thanksgiving? Cooler, but nothing outrageous. Again, traveling north of here the next couple of days, you are going to encounter some stormy weather. The opportunity for a few severe storms. Again, to recap that, today it's near where the warm front is, East Texas, Louisiana, Southwest Mississippi. Tomorrow it gets dragged farther east with generalized thunderstorms into the Tennessee Valley, but the best chance in portions of central sides of Alabama. And then for Wednesday, the risk for severe weather is not really there, just the general storm risk. Again, I'm a little questionable as to why Florida's peninsula is included in this. I could see a few sprinkles, but nothing much more than that. Overall, when we look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, and again, this does not take into effect, let's do temperatures first, Rusty. This does not take into the equation what's going to be happening through Friday, okay? This is 6 to 10 days. Guess what? Once we get this dip in the weather, temperature-wise, Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday, early in the weekend, we're warming right back up. And late this weekend and into early and mid next week, we are likely to be right back above average. All right? Big time plunge of colder air coming into the northern plains and portions of the Intermountain West. Now, this might miss us initially, but there are likely to be some big changes temperature-wise in the overall pattern the deeper into December that we get, but not in the short term, not through the first few days of December. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook, so this kind of takes you into what, December 3rd, December 4th kind of range, not expecting there to be some big changes there. When we look at the precip outlook, we could get a little bit wetter, but remember, this is our drier time of the year. So this is just saying there's a slightly better chance than average of seeing a little bit more rain in the 6 to 10 day time frame. That doesn't mean there's going to be significant rain, but I want you to notice a lot of the U.S. is likely to see wetter conditions than average from the very late part of November and into early December. Only the West Coast is likely to be drier. Some of this will be colder and wetter. Some of this will be warmer and wetter. And we are in that warmer than wetter time frame. Okay. I think we've done well, talked about this forecast. I hope everyone understands what's going to be happening for Thanksgiving. If you don't, again, you're more than welcome to leave a comment. I'm happy to answer that. Even if you're watching this in the recorded version, of course, this becomes a recorded video after I get done with the live version here on Monday afternoon. And if you're watching it at any point in time, you have a question, feel free to drop in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer that. But I think overall, we're going to enjoy what we're going to get for Thanksgiving Day. All right, programming note, this is Thanksgiving week. I'm going to be enjoying it with my family and friends as well. So there is not going to be a CFLW The Show on Friday, on Black Friday, which is why I want to talk a little bit about the Black Friday forecast in this video. Again, I don't know, because of all the online shopping that we do, I don't know how many of you actually get out early for those door deals at some of the local stores. But if you are, you're going to want the heavier jackets. Lows on Black Friday are going to be in the lower 40s. And if you're going to be camping outside of those stores for any length of time, it is bundle up, hats, gloves, scarves, and the blankets kind of weather. The coldest weather, what could be over a month, believe it or not. Well, let's say at least over 3 weeks. The 10 days before Black Friday and the 10 days after Black Friday, that is likely to be the coldest weather on Black Friday with lows that'll be in the lower 40s. So just keep that in mind. But otherwise, I think the weather's going to be fantastic. If you don't have any other questions, I will see you guys next Monday, and we will be talking about the end of hurricane season, a recap of that. We'll be talking about, again, some of the big changes that I expect deeper into December. Now, although we'll start off December on the warmer side, some of the things I've been looking at shows us that we could have much colder mid-December and maybe towards Christmas as well. Could be quite interesting. Friends, please remember that CFLW is sponsored by the Lien Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. You get property damage of any kind, you've been in an auto accident, they'll walk you through the insurance claim process. Check them out by going to lienonmelaw.com for more information. As always, I appreciate you guys taking a quick second and hitting the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so as well. From my family to yours, please have a very happy, safe Thanksgiving, whether you're traveling by air, by plane, by boat, or just staying at home. I hope you have a fantastic day with your family and friends. Have a great rest of the week. I'll see you guys next Monday for the next edition of CFLW The Show. Until then, my friends, you take care. Have a great rest of your day. And again, a very happy Thanksgiving from my family to yours. I'll see you soon.